Donald Trump is sick and tired of the scourge of drugs in the US. So much so that he has vowed to kill anyone who attempts to bring drugs into the country.
Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead. Okay? Yeah.
Speaking at the White House, President Trump said the US will use lethal force to stop fentanyl and other drugs entering the country. After several recent military strikes on vessels the administration says were carrying illegal narcotics. Trump then went further, calling cartels the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere, whilst taking a dig at Joe Biden.
Along with transnational gangs, these groups have unleashed more bloodshed and killing on American soil than all other terrorist groups combined. These are the worst of the worst. It should now be clear to the entire world that the cartels are the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere, in addition to their monstrous violence, such as cutting off heads, burning their enemies alive, and burning innocent people alive, too, by the way. The cartels control large swaths of territory. They maintain vast arsenals of weapons and soldiers, and they use extortion, murder, kidnapping to exercise political and economic control. Thank you very much, Joe Biden, for allowing that to happen.
And it's not only Donald Trump blasting the cartels. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth gave a chilling warning to the criminals.
So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you, we will map your networks, we will hunt you down, and we will kill you. And you've seen that evidence in the maritime domain, whether it's in the Caribbean or in the Pacific with the last two strikes. We know exactly who these people are. We know what networks they work with, what foreign terrorist organizations they're a part of. We know where they're going, where they originated from, what they're carrying. And they know we know. And that will soon start to change the calculus of these boats.
Marco Rubio doubled down on Trump's warnings, bluntly telling the cartels to stop sending drug boats if they want to avoid being blown up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, bottom line, these are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States.
But does it matter if it's in the United States?
Well, these are all in international waters.
The boat. Do a strike in the United States, or if
well, that's a different matter. Now you're talking about a law enforcement matter. In this particular case, there are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly drugs. And they're going to be stopped. And that's what's happening. And in the case last week, you saw there was a submarine. It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We track them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. You know, if you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
The tough talk comes after the US launched another strike on an alleged Colombian drug boat that killed 3 people. It's the 9th strike against drug smuggling vessels in an operation that began last month and has left 37 people dead. Trump justified the strikes by revealing that every drug boat that is eliminated saves 25,000 American lives.
And the only way you can't feel bad about it is you realize that you won't feel badly about it, is you realize that every time you see that happen, you're saving 25,000 American lives. Every one of those boats that gets knocked out is saving 25,000 American lives, not to mention the torn up families all over the country. And whenever I see that, I say to myself, I just saved 25,000 lives.
Sky News commentator Esther Kraku agreed, saying the Trump administration is taking the drug crisis very seriously. But she does admit that their methods are somewhat cavalier.
Yeah, I mean, the legalities is one thing. Obviously, people will say we need evidence. You can't just blow up ships in international waters that you are alleging to bring drug boats. But I think in many ways, the American legal system and the whole kind of use of lawfare has effectively almost driven the Trump administration to do this. Now, we see other countries have quite strong deterrents against drug dealing and smuggling. You know, Singapore, for example, has the death penalty, and that is quite contentious in the US because while it is a federal penalty, it's not applicable in all states. So really the question is, what can the Trump administration do? Now, I must admit, blowing up submarine vessels in the middle of the ocean is quite cavalier. Many people would ask, why don't you get the Coast Guard to bring them into the country and arrest them and process them in the typical way? But then you also see, the Democrats crying murder over the fact that Donald Trump is deporting drug dealers and known criminals from the US. So even if you were supposed to go down the bipartisan route, will the Democrats, who seem quite keen on allowing individuals that shouldn't be in the US, would they act in the best interest of the American public and try and stop this flooding of drugs, including fentanyl, into the US? Or would they continue to play politics with people's lives? Now, whether this will be effective, and you'll see a significant decline in these kinds of methods being used to smuggle drugs into the US, only time will tell. But one cannot say that Donald Trump's administration is not taking this seriously.
But whilst Trump and his cabinet are going hard on drugs, the Democrats are calling the response illegal.
So many Democrats now say the drone strike on the drug boat was an illegal action.
I think they can get away with this. God knows what they are going to do next. So that's what we're looking to right now, and there is reason to believe that this was not a legal action.
Sky News commentator Army Horowitz blasted the Democrats' response.
Who exactly is against this policy other than drug traffickers and members of the media and the Democrats? Surely any efforts to stop deadly drugs coming into America would be supported widely.
Well, that's exactly who's in favor of it, right? The drug smugglers, the media, the Democrats, and that's it. That's the entire list of people. It is insane to me. Again, it's these own goal by the Democrats. This is, again, one of those 80-20 issues we keep talking about. How could they possibly be against this? Now, look, let's put aside the legal issues, right? Okay, fine. There's an argument. I think that I've looked into it, and there's a very strong legal argument how we can continue to prosecute this, and we have.
Yeah.
And I get it. There's the other side of it saying it may or may not be legal. But from a practical standpoint, how could you be against us blowing up drugs coming into the U.S. to kill Americans, right?